My husband buys bad gifts. My husband, early 40s buys very bad gifts and doesn't think about the person he's buying for at all. He will buy things he thinks are cool, or types of things that he's been asked not to get for someone. Like he'll get clothes that are inevitably the wrong size, usually too small regardless of the person, when asked not to buy clothes. Or he'll buy gifts not at all related to the person. Like an I love my plants mug for someone with no plants, or a glass with a bullet in the side of it for someone with no interest in hunting or guns. Or he'll buy something expensive for a relative kid, knowing it's something they won't be allowed to play with because the parent won't approve. With clothes for me he'll buy too small, even though I've asked him not to buy me clothes, but he still want me to wear the things because they're expensive. It's awkward when he buys things like this for my family without thinking about them at all. I've talked to him about this and he just says he buys what he wants and he won't adjust. It's disappointing to everyone, especially for Christmas. I'm, early 30s not sure how to get through to him that you need to think about the people you're buying for and respect preferences. He does tend to be selfish and not take interest in people in general. Too long didn't read. My husband buys bad gifts and doesn't want to change that. It's embarrassing and disappointing. I'm not sure how to get through to him. I've talked to him about it and he doesn't think it's a problem. He said he buys what he likes and he won't change. You said he tends to be selfish and not consider others. So legit question time. What are you getting out of this relationship? How many times do you have to try to set him up to be a good partner, and that just doesn't take the opportunity? He basically tells you in plain language that he's not interested in changing. So what's your goal here? To try to convince a selfish person who suffers zero consequences for their selfishness to be less selfish? His shitty attitude has nothing to do with anyone but himself. And truthfully, it's literally not your job to teach a grown-ass adult not to be a selfish asshole, regardless of what other commenters might suggest. Your real options are to either hang him out to dry and straight up tell people yeah, that's from husband and he's shit at this while never expecting a good thoughtful gift from him to you, or, you can really sit down and decide what your deal breakers are. Are you loved in other ways? Do you feel like an appreciated partner? Does this issue stick out so hard because, maybe you feel tired of begging for love? If he doesn't think it's a problem you won't get him to change. Have you ever given him a bad gift? I mean, on purpose so he'll maybe get how disappointing it is. Normally I never agree with this kind of do the same shitty behavior back to them advice, but I think in this case it's pretty benign and might even help him understand a little. You could get him a giant box and wrap it up all fancy, but inside there's just a mug that says kiss me I'm a Sagittarius or something. Maybe with a big crack in it so it's not even useful. But if he really doesn't care that everyone is disappointed by his gifts and that he's embarrassing to be married to, I suspect his problems go way beyond bad gift giving. I mean, he's basically wasting money. The items that he buys are probably thrown away. However, maybe just convince him to include a gift receipt so the person can exchange. Be sure you put the receipt in the box, cause you know. Tell him for Christmas you'll be getting him a set of glitter bath bombs or something else that he would absolutely have no interest or desire in. And tell him to imagine opening that on Christmas morning and ask him to imagine how that would feel. He is being dismissive of people and their feelings by giving crappy gifts. You could also help walk him through gift ideas, or be explicit about what you want and literally write it down for him. But I understand if you don't want that emotional labor of helping him choose gifts for other people. If he refuses to listen to you about this, then follow through and buy him those glitter bath bombs for Christmas. If my partner is terrible at picking up hints, or even if I say, that's neat I'd like something like that can be too vague. So I list usually 5 to 10 things I'd like, ranging in specificity, like broadly new pajamas to more specific things like, this exact brand and shade of lipstick, and tell him to pick a few and surprise me. It works well because I get great gifts that I like, there is room for surprise, and I'm always really happy. We have found a method that works for us, so I hope you guys find one, too. Give him shitty gifts for Christmas. If you're thinking, I cannot do that, he would be so angry, Doesn't that just show he's aware that what he's doing upsets and hurts people, but he thinks he deserves better than them? Why does he deserve effort he doesn't put into other people? This isn't an issue of not having the money to purchase gifts or whatever else, or not knowing what people want. Why is he like this? It shows he doesn't care enough to make you happy and would rather just piss people off because he feels like it. He just says he buys what he wants and he won't adjust. Translation: he enjoys feeling like he can do whatever he wants without any consequences, and he power trips from being able to do this sort of thing with everyone being too afraid or awkward to make him stop. Not exactly admirable behavior. My 26F boyfriend, 26M, of 5 years broke up with me because he needs to find himself. My boyfriend and I have been together for 5 years. Throughout our relationship, we've never had major problems. We loved each other deeply, and it seemed like both of us wanted to be together for the long run. During this pandemic, he lost his job and it seems like he lost his sense of self. He started isolating himself, not taking care of his health and overall shutting out. He was still kind and loving to me, but he was obviously not in a great space. 2 months ago, he started expressing his feelings about wanting to be alone, about how being alone may help him grow and get him on a better track. From that point, he asked me for a break. We did that. Then we're done the break, we're good for a week, then he asks me to break up, over the phone, and when I see him the next day, he tells me he made a mistake. I'm obviously frazzled because throughout our entire relationship, it's been smooth sailing, but now, I've been put through an emotional roller coaster. We then go on another short break, 2 weeks, he tells me he wants me back, and then one day after, he's telling me he wants to break up because he can't try, that he is no longer emotionally available and that I don't deserve this. Although what I have described is an emotional roller coaster and I don't deserve any of it, I still feel so sad for him. I know he's not himself and he's been such a loving and kind partner to me for all these years. I wish I could fix it, but I can't save him, and I'm crushed that he wants to let go of our relationship because of how he feels for himself. He says he loves me and he wants to be with me, but he can't. I want what's best for him, but what's best for me? Do I hold on to hope or do I move forward? Do I make sure I do no contact so he can be alone? I know this is a ridiculous question and the answer is probably no. But do I wait? I love him so deeply and I wish things were different. I hate it here. TDLR. My boyfriend and I broke up after 5 years because he doesn't feel like himself anymore, but he says he still loves me. What do I do with my feelings? A few things to recognize. Relationships are never easy to end, even when it's the right thing. The next few weeks will be rough, and accept that. Give yourself a few weeks to grieve, but you need to pick yourself up. Don't let yourself be consumed by food or alcohol. Once you've picked yourself, focus on yourself. Make yourself the best version of yourself. Work out, pick up those hobbies you always wanted to do. That way, when you meet the right one, you're the best version of yourself for them. Lastly, I'm sorry this happened to you. You're strong and can get through this. P.S. I've never found getting back together to ever work. Treat your ex and your ex relationship as dead. I think you need to take control of the situation and stop letting him mess with you like this. I don't think he's doing it intentionally, but it's still not fair and doesn't help anything. If I were you, I'd sit him down and be firm. Tell him you understand that he seems confused about what he wants, but the back and forth isn't helping him and it's horrible for you. I'd insist on like a month or 2 of absolutely no contact with each other, then if you both agree it's useful, you'll get together and talk about things with cooler heads. Don't agree to any restrictions either. You're broken up for that time, both completely single. From the limited info we have, it sounds like he knows he's not in love with you anymore, but also really scared of making a mistake. You're going to have to help him by making him be single for a while. Just keep yourselves broken up. I've had a similar ex before and trust me, it can drag on for a year or more if you allow it. He sounds like he really needs the time and space right now to think. If he's the right one, he'll chase you, and by that time if you've moved on someone else, that's his loss. The same thing happened to me and it took me more than a year to break off that cycle. I hope you don't take as much time as I did. I would grieve the relationship first, treat it as ended. I feel like with all the break/breakup/back together that you have almost been conditioned to treat this as something that may not last very long, because the other times it was back on, then back off. When you're done grieving, you can decide whether you're looking for someone new or whether you might have a chance at a second relationship, but assume that this one is over for now. I'm sorry this happened to you and I hope you have some support. This may be hard to hear, but I've been in this situation many times in both positions, and my guess would be that he's probably been unhappy in the relationship for a while and is looking for a way out with the job loss and pandemic. Stuff like this doesn't happen out of the blue, even though I'm sure it feels that way, but the truth is there's no way to know what's going on in your partner's head even if stuff seems well. Cut your losses, grieve and move on. I, 32M, genuinely do not know how to break up with my GF, 32F, because she hasn't really done anything wrong. Depressed and losing my mind. How do I proceed? She's a great gal. We've been going out for a little over 6 years. This is tough because she is a great gal. I know she can make another man happy. I think for the first 3 years I was genuinely in love with her. But there are some issues that we can't seem to compromise or agree on that affect this relationship. It's been stagnant, and at this point, I've been really depressed, and as a result, my libido is insanely low and I don't feel like having sex. She is shy about sex nowadays too, but I think her libido is higher than mine. I've pretty much lost interest in everything and working has become insanely hard. I feel like I love and care for her, just not romantically. At this point, I don't know how to bring it up with her. We've talked about breaking up once before a couple years ago, and she says she never wants to break up, but I'm convinced this is the best way for the both of us. She's increasingly annoyed with things that I do and has been asking me to basically change myself, and I never ask her to do anything, because she's incredibly sensitive and will break out crying at any criticism. She says she wants to hear them, but I am unwilling to deal with it. I know we are both unhappy, but she is unwilling to break up, so I think it should be up to me. I'm not sure how to start up the breakup conversation with her and how to soften the blow. It's my intention to give her closure during the breakup that I enjoyed being with her and still care about her, but we are a mismatch, and that she deserves someone who can fully appreciate her. Bonus, my mom has been suspecting something wrong with me and has been bugging me to tell her what's up. I spilled the beans yesterday and she straight up told me I'm not allowed to break up with her because my GF is now 32 and will never find another man at that age. I just have to suck up and deal with it, even if it means I have to suffer for the rest of my life. Thanks mom, I feel better. This is a Chinese household, so my mom still holds some of those traditional values. Too long didn't read, girlfriend is a great gal, but we are definitely a mismatch. I know she is unwilling to break up even if she is unhappy. I think it's best that we break up, but don't know how to soften the blow as well as give her closure during the breakup. I feel like these types of breakups are the hardest, because you stew in your own guilt. But I hope you can free yourself from it soon. Sometimes things don't work out and there's not some big reason. There's no bad guy. She may be hurt, but it's not wrong to end it. And the alternative is living the rest of your life miserable, or making her miserable enough that she ends it. Both are terrible prospects.